Hello, Sunshine. Welcome back to another episode of HeartaBlaze podcast. Um, yeah, this is kind of an impromptu episode, by the way. I wasn't originally planning to film this, but since I decided that I was going to have a sort of unboxing moment with Breezy again, I thought it would be really cool to kind of record this, and especially since my other account on Instagram, BloodX Line Apparel, where I do all the hats and all the art painting stuff usually has been kind of a little bit stagnant because I've just been so busy with podcast stuff. I thought it would be kind of cool to at least have some stuff that I can also kind of share there on top of everything. Um, so let's talk a little bit about the person I'm giving this to, and also the context of like why this hat and like the story of this hat. So Breezy is a good friend of mine. I have made this year. It was through TGAR, as you know from my channel. If you watched the interviews that I do for music artists, TGAR is an Australian rapper who has incredible music and is an incredible person with a huge hunger for personal growth and sentiment for others. And the way we got to know each other was through Instagram. When the algorithm kind of suggested his music, I liked it, and he reached out saying that he just loves to get to know people and such. And initially I thought he was a scammer. Told Breezy the story. He thought it was hilarious. But yeah, and then since then, I've interviewed him a couple of times already. One for his debut album. That's the most recent one. It's pinned on the top of my Instagram, so go have a look, and then you can find the actual interview over on Spotify or YouTube, and all underneath the same name, How to Blaze Podcast. Now, so they've been really long-term friends, and eventually I kind of tried to use the opportunity to connect with Breezy because I don't know any music producers. He's a rapper and a hip hop artist and a producer himself, and owns a studio down in DY. And I just thought it was a very cool opportunity to get to see a little bit behind the scenes of how things are made, or like get to know him a little bit more. Also, like talk about his music. And eventually, we did get an interview. And then further down the track, so I'll show you. There was at the time I was still making a lot of hats consistently because that was mostly what I was doing rather than focusing just on the podcast. And there was one hat that I had an idea for that I really wanted to do. So when I was growing up, I always really loved moths and caterpillars, just bugs in general. I thought they were all pretty cool, except cockroaches and that sort of stuff. Pests and stuff were not cool to me. Um, But yeah, so lunar moths ended up in more recent years of my adult life became just a moth that I found out about that I really love the look of, and I just think it looks so magical. And I was going through a lot of changes in life, and it kind of became a symbol of how I think about change and freedom, and you know these kind of symbolism as such. And so I was like, what would be really cool to have a hat where you have like an actual butterfly that's like 3D on it. And then I kind of went on this idea of going on Amazon trying to search out what can I use as an option for these butterflies. So I was looking for maybe like cardboard prints or wooden prints, and it was actually surprisingly hard to find. Eventually, I did find one. So it's this company that does it, and I can probably show you. Didn't think about this before, but essentially they just come like these little sort of paper pieces. Actually, it was a really good deal, and it comes with a lot of different types of species along with the lunar moth, and it came with a lot of them. And usually male, female, and it even came with a little card that described the species and like the sexual dimorphism, all that kind of interesting stuff if you're into this stuff, which is very cool. I geeked out a little bit. And so yeah, so my idea was I wanted to like also when I look at my hats when they hang on my wall, I often look at like the colors and see like what kind of color I'm missing, what kind of color I can experiment with. And I was like, I don't really have that many white sort of like simple kind of minimalistic hats. So I was like, I could do one where it's just a butterfly, draw some sort of like chrysalis kind of inspired sort of arts on top with Sharpie or something, and just keep it black and white, really minimalistic. And I think the idea was cool, but at the time I wasn't using the right materials. Like Sharpies just aren't very good, especially on certain types of cloths and such, of material, fabric and such. So on the specific hat that I did, it was really not like it was bleeding a lot. Just did not look very sharp and looked very unfinished. And eventually, just like the patterns and stuff I did, I just don't think I was very happy with it. I was very happy with how the moths turned out. I basically sprayed it, made sure it was like protected from like the elements and such, or at least have some kind of protective barrier. Used a fabric glue and glued it on. And then there was another issue at the time. I ordered a fabric glue for the very first time, but I ordered one that was temporary, and I didn't realize there was a temporary kind, which basically meant that if it hit water, it would wash off immediately. Um, so that was another issue. So with everything that I learned from, you can check this episode out as well. It's quite recent. I made a hat for Breezy. So basically, what happened was after I finished that hat, I put it online on the page, and when I was chatting with Breezy, at one point he must have somehow come across that post, and he was looking at it. And he said, "Hey, this hat is really really cool." And then I offered him, I said, like, you know what? I was like, if you're interested, I can make your hat. I was like, I'd be more interested in the exposure from your channel rather than, you paying me for something like that. I was like, if you're interested. And then he was like, yeah, man. Anyway, I won't go on the full story about that because that's going to go end up a bit long. But there is a whole story about it, and that's on the video. So make sure to go check it out. But moving on to the actual thing, so I decided that after I finished the hat, I was moving on to other projects that I have on hand. One of them is including my good friend Eli, who's also an artist. But I was like, you know what? I want to quickly jump on this because I really, out of all the hats I've made so far, this is the one hat I was not happy with, and I wanted to revamp it. And yeah, so basically the concept behind it was I was thinking, okay, Breezy liked it. I don't think I'm going to wear this hat. I haven't really worn it much compared to any of the other hats, especially gone out. I think I've worn it out once. So I thought, why not give it to someone who performs and wears hats a lot when he performs? Give the hat a little bit of a more of a chance to live and be in the spotlight, for lack of a way to say it. So I ended up thinking, okay, so I know from the last project he likes black and red specifically for his color choices. And I was like, but I want something a little bit more minimalistic, a little bit less dressed up, a lot easier to wear than the other one. So he has two choices. And the focus obviously is the lunar moth. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do sort of like a galaxy thing because I recently got a galaxy lamp thing for my room that projects into the room. And that kind of Milky Way kind of like galaxy thing was something I really like. And I was like, I feel like that would work really well if I got the whole, basically painted the whole hat black to make it easier to kind of put acrylic markers on, which is one of the main things I'm using now, essentially like fabric markers. And they work way better than Sharpie. Um, and yeah, and I just use like cotton, what do you call it, cotton swabs, or like little cotton fabrics, cotton swabs, and I just kind of like use that and if brushes and acrylic markers as a combination of techniques to kind of create the Milky Way kind of look. And then put the moths back in there. I added one more large one, which was the male one, and another small one just to kind of make it a little bit more full. And I know sometimes he likes to wear his hats backwards, which I also prefer to. So I was like, I want the moth to be seen from both sides. And then I had this really cool idea where I was like, I'm gonna. This was where I talked to Breezy about it, and he said it was a really good idea. I said, when I made his last hat, I had a last minute idea where I wanted to do a design for underneath the cap, like where the brim is the underside of the brim. And some of my other caps do have that design. There's only been one or two, I think, that have done that. And I just thought it would be cool to make that my signature thing where every one of my hats always has some kind of hidden design underneath it. Anyway, so when I moved on to it, I was like, okay, so this looks really good. I wanted like a red blood moon as well along the Milky Way just to kind of have that pop of red and kind of make it look a little bit more obvious on brand to him. And it just makes it a little bit more slightly like less just magical, but like a little bit grungy, which works with hip hop, that kind of stuff more. And then I was like, but it needs a lot more red. And I also think the brim was completely empty. That was not going to work. That just seemed a little bit off. So what I did was I was like, it needs some, he could use some branding with like actual labeling. So like actually name on top. So I was like, maybe let's do a little promotion where it shows. So I then ended up doing like sort of like another swabby kind of like swirly kind of effect on the brim, but with like nice red, and then wrote his name with acrylic marker that says Breezy, and then also his Flow State Studio, the studio name. And the font that I did freehand ended up being really really cool for it. Um, I'm just checking what I did. Yeah, and then I also painted this time the full tag inside, and then like signed it with the Blood X Line apparel signature that it came up with. And on the underside, I ended up deciding that I want to bring back the crystal as kind of part of the design, but make it a lot more subtle. And when I was thinking about what to write down there, I thought about never fear change, because he's a guy who doesn't fear change, like comes across that way because he's always pushing himself. He's always trying to improve himself. He works so hard. He's part of the personal growth community that we're in. If you watch most of my episodes, you'll know about this. Um, but he can't really make most of the meetings because he's usually just so busy with trying to improve his business. Anyway, but he's always talking about, taking a leap, doing the changes, and he's done so many of that himself. One of the good examples is he's recently taken off all his archive music from his music archive from basically taken all of his music from Spotify, removed himself from Spotify because it just doesn't pay much and just isn't really about the artist, and started a movement where he has different tiers of like a package where you can buy the music, but you can also, as the tier moves up into sort of the second onwards, it basically comes with a free MP3 player with Bluetooth, and even a radio and such, and recording functions, even all that. Very well packaged. It's a really great package. I personally got one myself. I just got sort of like the second cheapest one. Got the MP3 player. Again, there's videos and clips in shorts and stuff that you can check out that will showcase all this kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's a really cool example of an artist who's trying to take matters into his own hand, reclaim his music, and move forward like in the industry and make a mark for himself. So it's very cool. So I'm really happy about this. But yeah, that's pretty much the design. It's a very, very simple design, but still took me only about maybe a couple of days to kind of essentially go from the original design to the fully finished design. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. I think he'll really, really like this. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the design. Let me know what you think. How does it compare to the original design? And do you guys like Lunar Moths as well? Anyway, I'll talk to you guys next time. See ya.
She know how to say yes, daddy. Good girl, she know how to make a man happy. She a short queen, but she get a little scrappy. Watch out for this girl, she a little nasty. She know how to be a straight savage. She work out so her body, you just gotta have it. She all about fitness, baby, we gon' start a habit. Cardio, here we go, yeah, we getting at it. She could drop it low, way down to the floor. Got that arch in her back, made me crave even more. And she move like a stripper when she done off the liquor. Going on till we can't feel our bodies anymore. Girl, I want you to feel sexy. You look good, baby girl, just bless me. If it's illegal to touch, so arrest me. Every time we get together, you impress me. I like it when she say
yes, daddy. Yes,
I like it when she say
yes, daddy. Yes.
Next up,
she a down low baddie.
Hey, hey.
Yo, what's up?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Let me turn this on.
You said it was open. I didn't expect it to be completely open.
Yeah. All the way in, bro. How's things?
Yeah, not bad.
Oh, you got the meta.
I got a meta glasses
That's
going, so it's actually recording right now. You can actually see it as well. See, like, video recording on.
Man, can you see the video feed?
Yeah.
Live, or just
No.
after you
Usually
stop
after like you stop recording. So say if I said,
taking photos of the other one yet because the photographer cancelled because it was raining and shit on the weekend.
oh
But
yeah, that's
it's
probably
gonna
why.
happen. I'm
So
gonna
you
do
can you'll probably bring this one along too. Here you go.
it. Oh shit.
I just have to be careful with that one because
Yeah,
that one's a bit. I noticed like that one's really long, so it might be a little bit damaged. So you might just also have to fix this wing a little bit, but you can just fold them up if you want them a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
Cool. And then the side says, "Never fear change."
Oh, that's cool.
It's got the I wanted like sort of like a glitchy effect, almost like kind of like it's motion blur.
Yeah.
And I just thought because you've been doing so much change, I figured that would be a really good motto for you. Kind of reflects your person.
Oh yeah. And that moon is sick. It's like a blood moon.
Yeah, it's a blood moon. I was like, I gotta throw in some red for you, some black. But I also want the butterfly to really stand out.
Yeah. Looks cool.
Yeah, this color suits you a lot. Nice. I was just like, every time I look at I was like, I don't know. I was like, this hat just like doesn't look good. I was like, it needs a revamp. I was like, it looks too tacky because like all the Sharpie bled a lot and it just looked like it was a bit tacky and not like professional.
Yeah, okay.
And then this just looks so much better.
That's so cool. I almost want to like draw on the wings and stuff. That'd be